The Lord be with you.
And with your spirit.
Reading from the Holy Gospel according to Matthew.
Glory to you, Lord.
Jesus spoke to the crowds and to his disciples, saying, "The scribes and the Pharisees have taken their seat on the chair of Moses. Therefore do and observe all things whatsoever they tell you, but do not follow their example. For they preach, but they do not practice. They tie up heavy burdens hard to carry and lay them on people's shoulders, but they will not lift a finger to move them. All their works are performed to be seen. They widen their phylacteries and lengthen their tassels. They love places of honor at banquets, seats of honor in synagogues, greetings in marketplaces, and the salutation, 'Rabbi.' As for you, do not be called Rabbi. You have but one teacher, and you are all brothers. Call no one on earth your father. You have but one Father in heaven. Do not be called Master. You have but one Master, the Christ. The greatest among you must be your servant. Whoever exalts himself will be humbled, but whoever humbles himself will be exalted." Gospel of the Lord.
Praise to you, Lord Jesus Christ.
I suppose it's a hazard to read about Jesus and the things he said and to derive some strange conclusions, such as Jesus didn't like people in authority, this type of thing. Now, mind you, he was very respectful of people in authority, even when they were wrong. And this is not to say that he was condoning the misuse of authority. I mean, we can see the example when Jesus is before Pontius Pilate, when he's on trial. And it's really Pilate who's on trial. But Jesus told Pilate that he, meaning Pilate, would have no authority over him unless it was given to him by God. The problem was that Pilate was misusing his authority, because deep down inside he knew Jesus was innocent, but Pilate went along with the crowd and called for, or I should say, allowed Jesus to be crucified. So here, Jesus is talking about certain religious authorities among the Jews who occupy legitimate seats of authority. He didn't say start your own church or have nothing to do with these people. He just basically said that, people in authority, rightful authority, we listen to. Now, mind you, if somebody in authority commands us to do something immoral or illegal or something like this, obviously we don't blindly follow the person. That's an abuse of authority. But even if a person in authority is not giving a good example, but he tells us to do things that we should be doing, we need to follow what he says. This is what Jesus' point is. Now, having said that, Jesus condemned hypocrisy. Hypocrisy means acting. So somebody who says one thing but does another, that's what a hypocrite is. So a person who says he's a good Catholic but he doesn't keep the moral law, or whatever the story is, or he likes to be seen in church, but he has nothing to do with the commandments of God, is acting. It's the worst kind of thing in many ways. In fact, the one thing that got Jesus upset was not so much sin. I mean, he was very compassionate with the woman caught in adultery, although he told her not to do it again. He was compassionate with Zacchaeus, who was an extortionist, but he reconciled him. But people who were hypocrites, Jesus was very upset with, because they're people who really fool themselves in many ways, and they're a liability because they're fakes, basically. And there's plenty of that going on even today, and some churchmen are like that, and politicians, some of them could be like that. A politician who likes to be seen with religious figures as an example When Mother Teresa was here, that is to say, she was invited to the National Prayer Breakfast. This was a number of years ago. And the president at the time was very pro-abortion, like the one we have now. But Mother Teresa was very smart. She would not appear with the president on stage because the president wanted a photo op with her. She wouldn't give it to him. There's no reason she should have. In fact, when Mother Teresa talked, she talked very strongly about the sanctity of preborn children. She really issued a surprise attack on the president and his wife. This was, again, I say, a number of years ago. She was a woman of God. I mean, she didn't countenance any fakery on the part of people. I mean, religion is not supposed to be a prop. It's supposed to be the truth. So to preach the truth and to live the truth. But it's a hazard. So we have a famous preacher from, I suppose, the 19th century who railed against adultery, which was good, but he was an adulterer himself. This was a Protestant preacher. But there are other examples. I mean, the people can be this way. And we need to correct people who are somehow connected to or cross our paths or whatnot. But we have to make sure we're not doing the same things. And Jesus mentioned that in another context. Take the plank out of your eye before you correct your brother, and so forth and so on. And then finally, Jesus talks about humility, which leaders need to have. Everybody does. Humility just is basically living in the truth and not becoming so caught up in our position or our power or our supposed importance, and basically not being an asset or a servant, but being a fake or a hypocrite or something like this. The greatest among you must be your servant. Whoever humbles or exalts himself will be humbled, but whoever humbles himself will be exalted.